Ready or not? Ready? No, I got all my band on. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm catching up. All my niggas in the street trying to get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hunters, no. Making money, oh no.
She rolling with me, now she know my whip. They rolling on me, now diamond rings. I got bangs, lights, relics. Ready.
Ready or not, we coming hard, straight from the top. Ready or not, I got my bros straight from the top. Ready or not. Ready? No, I got all my band on. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm catching up. All my niggas in the street trying to get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hunters, no. Making money, oh no.
She rolling with me, now she know my whip. They rolling on me, now diamond rings. I got bangs, lights, relics. Ready.
Ready or not, we coming hard, straight from the top. Ready or not, I got my bros straight from the top. Ready or not. Ready? No, I got all my band on. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm catching up. All my niggas in the street trying to get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hunters, no. Making money, oh no.
She rolling with me, now she know my whip. They rolling on me, now diamond rings. I got bangs, lights, relics. Ready.
Ready or not, we coming hard, straight from the top. Ready or not, I got my bros straight from the top. Ready or not. Ready? No, I got all my band on. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm catching up. All my niggas in the street trying to get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hunters, no. Making money, oh no.
She rolling with me, now she know my whip. They rolling on me, now diamond rings. I got bangs, lights, relics. Ready.
Ready or not, we coming hard, straight from the top. Ready or not, I got my bros straight from the top. Ready or not. Ready? No, I got all my band on. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm catching up. All my niggas in the street trying to get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hunters, no. Making money, oh no.
She rolling with me, now she know my whip. They rolling on me, now diamond rings. I got bangs, lights, relics. Ready.
Ready or not, we coming hard, straight from the top. Ready or not, I got my bros straight from the top. Ready or not. Ready? No, I got all my band on. I'm just making all this money, yeah, I'm catching up. All my niggas in the street trying to get it all. All my niggas by the guap, yeah, we get it all. This shit, hunters, no. Making money, oh no.
Ay, 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 ay. Matsikuluman na po naman dyan sa kamaganjan ng Lungani Gwala, a.k.a. Humpa ng chocolate kid, Leo. Let me hear you say, poo, 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 poo. Yes, welcome to the Global Sunday. This is your boy Lungani Gwala, aka Humpa ng chocolate. Like I tell you, it's another day, it's another Sunday. Baby, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be crazy. If you're watching wherever you are, please drop us a comment below. Let us know what's in it. How was your week and how was your weekend? Now I know I've been asking the question if Sunday is the beginning of the week or it's the end of the week. So Mr. Pike, the legend, answered me like 2 weeks ago, and he said a Sunday is the beginning of the week. So you kicking off your week with the Global Sunday. Welcome, welcome everybody. I hope you are all doing fine. Today is gonna be an amazing show again. As always, we have a very special guest that we're gonna be talking to. Very flexible guest, but we have somebody that we haven't seen in a while, which is really really awesome to have him back here on the Global Sunday. Let me introduce my guest, Damen Easton and Mr. Ludden. Welcome to the Global Sunday team. And how is it going?
Well, it is going really well, actually. You know, we're in the final preparations this week, the week coming up for a big gala next Saturday. And we've been, very, very lucky to be working very hard with a lot of incredible dancers, musicians, people all over the world. So it's been a really exciting week for me. How about you, Damen?
It's been a really busy week. I'm going to be teaching at the university at the end of the month, so I've been preparing classes. I've got a graphic novel that's on the website. We've been preparing the website for that, and I've been composing some stuff for a client. So I got a lot going on.
Can we get a link for the website with your graphic novel? I can't wait to see that.
Oh yeah, it's underthecloudsummit.com. That's the name of the graphic novel, and it'll be up as a webcomic. Under the Cloud Summit.
Underthecloudsummit.com. That's going to be awesome. I've been very privileged to see this in development. We started talking about it a while ago. We just from an idea and seeing your sketches and things. It's going to be awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really excited.
How about you, Lungani? What has your week been like?
Well, like you mentioned, there's an upcoming event, which is really amazing. So we've been going around Prescott and making people aware of this upcoming event, and it was really amazing to see how excited people are. They haven't seen something like this in a long time here in town, so I'm really super excited about this event. So I cannot wait. And the amazing part of it is that it's going to be live at the same time. It's going to be in person. It's like a virtual event at the same time. It's going to be in person. So if one wants to purchase tickets to go to the theater and physically watch a show, it's possible. And if they are far away, they cannot travel to here, they can also watch online. So that is super amazing. I mean, we're making use of the technology. So that's really awesome.
Oh, well, Lungani, one of the friends of mine who is somewhere, I think, in East Asia, wrote and said, well, it's going to be 3:00 in the morning for me, but I guess I'll wake up. And I said, no, technology has a solution for that. Because if you get a ticket for the live event, you don't have to watch it when it's live. You can watch it for 2 weeks, whatever time you can watch it. And so she was really, really glad she was awake and,
Yeah, I think maybe if you can, briefly let people know about the event, because I know last week we did touch on the event, and we did publish the poster online live. But just to, because we only have like few weeks before the event, maybe if you can just, remind people, Mr. Ludden, about the event that is coming, what's going to be happening, who's going to be there, And maybe where can people, purchase tickets? I know I've explained that if they're watching virtual, they can see it on Facebook, but I know there's more information. Please go for it.
Okay, well, first of all, on May 19th, I don't know if people remember that show. It was a technical disaster show, so it probably you will remember it. It was ended up being a very short show because there was a problem. The carrier in 19 states in the United States of Wi-Fi went out right when we started the show. We didn't know what was going on, but our guest that day was Rainer Krenstetter, who is an international famous superstar ballet dancer. And it was the occasion of Margot Fontaine's 102nd birthday. And we made the announcement that I had selected Rainer to be my successor. When I retire, Rainer will take over as the artistic director globally for all Fontaine things. Well, Rainer then came to town, to Prescott, and taught some master classes, got to meet some of the studio owners, a bunch of the dancers locally, and he just fell in love with Prescott. And so he decided that he wanted to do a fundraiser for our academy in the form of inviting his international, ballet dancer friends. And so the program is called Rainer and Friends Ballet Gala. It's going to be on September 11th. We're also doing it as a tribute. We're giving some free tickets to first responders for 9/11, the firemen and the policemen, but we're also extending that to the first line of defense against COVID, and for teachers and nurses and doctors and things like that, as well as ticket sales. So it's a tribute to those people, like artists who, no matter what's going on, keep going. We have coming from Japan, Machimuto, amazing ballerina. We have coming from Holland, Frank van Tongeren. We have 5 dancers coming from Miami City Ballet because they didn't need to get visas and they could travel, because all of a sudden, some of the international guests that were going to come couldn't come because they weren't allowed in the United States because of the uptick of COVID and the Delta variant. You're going to be seeing things from Swan Lake, The Dying Swan, old ballet called Spectre de la Rose, which means sort of like the aura of the rose. It's a story about a woman who went to an opera or a ballet, and she came home and she has a rose in her program, and she falls asleep in a chair and the rose comes to life and dances with her. It's a beautiful ballet. We also have The Talisman, which is an ancient work that was resurrected with the new world premiere in 2019. Sorry, I was going to say 1920.
2019, yeah.
2019. And then also closing the show is going to be Parada. That is one of the most popular, a very for him, and he's going to be sharing that. It's only been done once before in Berlin, which he was able to do for his father about a month before his father passed away. So it was a very special, so he's bringing it back here. And then the most amazing thing is a whole slew of the kids that Rainer did a workshop with are putting together 2 numbers. So the local kids are going to be performing. It is going to be memorable. And so I encourage everybody to come. Now, you want me to say out loud what the link is, and I don't know what the link is, but could you please, if I say that's going to be posted down below?
Yeah.
You'll find it down below.
Absolutely.
Because it starts with HTTP / and then it goes on from there to unpronounceable words. It's just letters and numbers and symbols. It's like swear words in a comic strip. So
Absolutely. We're gonna post the link below. So if you want to get yourself a ticket, please do get a ticket. It's only $30. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be an amazing show. So
and I forgot, most important, it's at 6 open at 5. It's at 6 o'clock at the Ruth Street Theater, and that's on the Prescott High School campus. God, I'm not a very good advertiser marketer, am I? But I'm good at giving my opinion, and it's going to be great.
Absolutely. Damen, do you have anything to say before we go to the entertainment news?
Excited to be on the show and get to talk to Julian.
Are you a big fan of dance, Damen?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I've been to one of the Margot Fonteyn Academy of Ballet galas, and that was quite amazing. And I'm not super knowledgeable about it, but I am a fan. I enjoy it very much. Right. And I'm a very big fan of your work as well.
Right. But if you were given an opportunity to be a dancer, or would you?
Oh boy, it's too late for me. But I enjoy other people's dancing.
I don't know about that. Come and visit for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, just 2 years. Ask me. I know. Anyway, shall we go to the entertainment news?
Yes. What is happening in the entertainment world, Lungani?
Good question. Today on the entertainment news, we have, if you remember, Zulu Pavarotti. He recently released an album, and it's going pretty good. I've been seeing people purchasing the album. If you want to support him, go to our Facebook page, The Global Sunday, or Diverse Global Studios, and we will definitely channel you to where you can find the album. Unfortunately, it's only available in South Africa, but he can make a plan to get it to you wherever you are. So shout out to you, Mr. Zulu Pavarotti. And I know Zulu Pavarotti is having a collaboration with Mr. John Ramawata there in Durban, South Africa, and there's a lot of things going on there. I'm just saying wada. But soon we're gonna give you full details. Next we have Natim Tembu. I remember Natim Tembu, we once had him on the show, like, I don't know, a year ago, or 8 to 10 months ago. He's an amazing gospel singer, and he just released a new music video, and it's going to be played here on the Global Sunday for the first time. It will be aired. Shout out to you, my brother. It's a really, really nice music video. So stay tuned and watch that video and let me know what you think about that video. But then today I decided to talk also about Reiner's visit. I know that it's a video that we previously played when he was here, but since Mr. Ludden has touched on that, I would like to play that video for the entertainment news so you can know more about Reiner's visit, especially if you are here in Prescott. But also I do want to say that Dude, if you remember MC Dude that we interviewed like a few months ago, yes, he just released a new music video featuring Ustelo Gowane, which we also interviewed here on the Global Sunday a few months ago. This is so amazing. I'm glad to see our guest, stepping even more up, and releasing new works, which is so amazing. But that's what we have for today's entertainment news. Let us watch the video from Reiner's visit when he came here to Prescott, so you can find out more the details between his visits. So I will see you when you come back. Please do drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And also, if you're around, I will see you at the event this weekend at Wood Street Theater. This is the entertainment news, and this is your boy Lungani Gwala. aka Vanaga Chocolate Kid Leo. I'll see you when we come back. Wow.
Mina sengabambelela kwesikamama isithembiso. Bengicela ungangibuza usikanjani ngoba wena kawuyazi impilo engiyiphilayo.
Kodwa mlala nje.
Yebo Dad. Ngifuna remziba. Uyabazi lo mzima bokube intandane.
Ngisacela ubaba uNkulunkulu asikade lesisifuba sengiphethe uphinde ungicela esiphela ngokuthi
kunzima ukuba yintandane.
Umnyoko basibangile egodini ingafuni ukumbona.
Uyabazi ubuhlungu bokuvuka kusempondo zankomo uyozama ukuye ngasethunjini ubulambazi. Uyabazi ubuhlungu bokushingana kweni khulela ukufa kanti nalapho uhamba uhambo likamabuyazi. Kunzima ukuba yintandane.
Khalisani ngoba sibona akekho nandini.
Owenhliziyo yami ukuphila kwami ithemba lami uma ndihleli baby ngicinga ngawe njalo uthando lwakho lwandishintshela ngenza indoda namasekhaya ndibatshelile ngawe baby ndihlala nawe ndiphile nawe impilo yami yonke uthando lwami ngolwakho nhliziyo yami ngeyakho angisoze ngasuka kuwe baby isithando sami njalo hlala nami phila nami impilo yonke ngiyakuthanda kuze kube sekuphele
Kabishi bekuvele kuxatshwana bekuyindlovu kayiphikisa umama limkhanda ngebhathu lishubisa mase kufike ekhaya emva kwenyanga enkathi jitha wadala wajula wacabanga kumele enzeni phela yikho into ezoyizela kuye emehlele empedeni wafuka wayosebenza nezinto zaqala.
Hey Kahola, this is your boy Dude, Mr. Quick Chillers himself. This coming Friday, I'm releasing a music video titled Ballet, talking about the journey of my life through music and everything in life. The track is featured Stella Kowani. Stay tuned. Hey Kahola, I love you.
Ngicela ungangibuza ukuthi ngiphumaphi zengishizilile ngile ngithathe ngiyashonsale ingapho namhlanje ngiyajela ngicela ungangibuza ukuthi ngiphumaphi zengishizilile
sure ha leli khansi elikhule kanzima oledile ngasipana itama noma belisipana kodwa hlezi itakutshwana ngacabanga nanokuthi ekhaya ingane sibanjwe njalo phela lona belisicabangela lona nabangani belisithanda nanesiketi lidlalisa komamncane kodwa ekhama lifica ikabishi bekuvele kuxatshwana bekuyindlovu kayiphikisa umama limkhanda ngebhathu lishubisa mase kufike ekhaya emva kwenyanga enkathi jitha wadala wajula wacabanga kumele enzeni phela yikho into ezoyizela kuye emehlele empedeni wafuka wayosebenza
with a company. And so on and so on. So I had to come here, look at the several theaters, look at the several camps, look at the several hotels, and so on and so on. So that's like the studios and so on. Then of course I'm here also, well, I'm here, you know, to meet Ken and to be with Ken and to really talk in person, and we spend many hours, you know. That's why I'm also staying at Ken's and not in a hotel, so we can like really have the time to speak about, you know, the opening of the Margot Fonteyn Ballet Academy, and you know, seeing finally all the different options, the different buildings, visiting different options and different buildings together, talking about what's the next step, talking about many things, and so also getting as much as possible to learn from him about the academy, about the method. So, you know, that's the other thing. And then of course also me being here as a principal dancer from Miami City Ballet, teaching the local students at the local studios to get to know them, that they get to know me, that they get to know also Ken, that they know that we are here. So that's why I'm also like giving master classes and teaching privates and semi-privates and so on to the local students here, to the local ballet students. So beside that, of course, you know, I have actually in a week I'm dancing solo in Berlin because I have to fly back to Europe, and so I have to also do that, and you know, so always very multitasking. Yeah, I love Prescott. I must say, I'm first time here, first time in Arizona. It actually reminds me a lot to the Provence in south of France. And I love it. I really think that the nature here is just incredible. I like the rockets. I like the rocks, sorry. I like I don't know, I like it sunny, then it's a little bit rainy and stuff. So I don't know how it usually is. I can say this time I have nothing to compare. It's not incredibly hot, so that's also very comfortable for being end of July. The people, I like city center. I saw by now, you know, where the Elk Theater is. So, you know, the park there, we went to a restaurant. So I don't know, I like the vibe a lot. The only thing I don't like is there is no connection to any cell phone like thing. Like I can't get any reception to talk. I can't get reception to get messages. I don't have internet. I can't get my way around with my navigation. I always have to. Last time I was like driving around for 20 minutes trying to find a Starbucks to get Wi-Fi to put back the address to go back. So that's just a little bit weird because, you know, I understand we are like more, you know, people stay like in the desert, but it's not. I mean, it's still a city. It's like, I don't know how people do it. It's just incredible. So that's something I hope that all the carriers from the cell phones listen and watch that, do something about it. Because that's really like, I don't know, not US like, that I don't have reception. Beside that, I really enjoy my stay. I get to know the directors of the students, of the schools, the mothers. So I think that's all going to be very important for the future. The days are long, but it's also intense, just like all the conversations. And like I say, the thing with Japan, to prepare everything, it's a lot of things going on in my head. So it's kind of hard also sometimes to switch off. But yeah, so I'm very happy to be in Prescott for the first time. Thank you guys, and thank you for watching Global Sunday.
Mr. Ludden, what's up?
Hey everybody.
Damen and I were just talking in the green room about the fact that they're music videos, and there's the Take Me to the Church dance music video is really kind of the only one. And so we were talking about we need to do more of those, and maybe that's something that we can you know, arm wrestle and pressure our guest into committing to doing something like that. But it seems like we should have a lot more, you know, dances. Sting and Alessandra Ferri did one, and then Sergei Pulonen did Take Me to the Church. But other than that, there really isn't anything. So let's jump on that. And if you out there who are watching think that's a good idea, send us a thumbs up and pressure us into living up to our word.
Absolutely. Talking about that and dancers and musicians, we have our special guest for today. He is a dancer. He is a photographer. He's a model. He is an amazing individual. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Julian Duque. I hope I pronounced that correct.
You did.
Boo, 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 boo. Welcome to the show, bro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you all for having me. Lungani, Damen, Mr. Ludden. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
What's up, man? How does it feel to be in press kit? Before we start throwing some questions to you, we're gonna throw some questions to you.
Press kit has been an unexpected experience. It was a lot more beautiful. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I was coming to Arizona. This was my first time in Arizona, so I was definitely expecting dry. I'm originally from Medellin, Colombia, and I've mentioned it various times as I've been here that I feel like I'm in Medellin. The city itself, the inside of the city, not so much, but being surrounded by beautiful green mountains, that's what reminds me of Medellin. So I am happy to have come. I am sad to leave shortly after the show, but I am grateful for the experience.
Wow, amazing. Do you guys want to welcome Julian before we start our conversation? I don't know. I think because I know how to flow, and I was once a musician, not a good musician, but just a musician. The name Julian and Damen, it flows, it rhymes, so anyways, Damen, anything you want to say to Julian before I start asking some questions?
Yeah, just that it's great to meet you, Julian, and we've got a lot of really fun to hear your answers and learn more about your career than I already know. What I already know is pretty awesome. You've been up to a lot. Hear about it in your words.
Well, I'm curious for the answers myself, so we'll see. I'm more curious about the answers than the questions, so.
Mr. Ludden.
So welcome. On a totally side note, it's Medellin. I thought it was Medellin.
No, well, in Spanish, the double L sounds like a Y in English, so J.
Oh, it's a diphthong, Medellin.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So sorry about that. I just no, Julian, I've known you for a number of years now, and I've worked with you, and it is wonderful to have you here. Have been here for this week, and it's really nice to be able to, for me personally, to introduce to the global audience these incredible artists that I work with and that I run into and I get to know. So welcome, Julian, and buckle your seatbelt because we're really going to hardball you with questions here, man.
Yeah.
And I think the first one's going to come from Lungani Gwala, aka Chocolate.
Absolutely. And just so you know, on the internet, they've named me talk too much, so I always try to limit what I say because I end up, going on and on and on and on and on like a speaker. They call me a loudspeaker. Anyways, so Julian, for a person who's seeing you for the first time, they don't know anything about you. Who is Julian?
Julian is this crazy guy with an insatiable lust for life. Many years ago, I came up with a thought that I hold very strong to my heart, is that my thirst for life is more than my glass can hold. I love everything in life. I love every experience. sometimes to my complications because I try to do so much at once. I love people. I love to dance. Even right now, you can't see, but my knee is like nonstop. I can't stop moving. I love life. You know, there's so much to appreciate, to be grateful for. Life isn't easy, but it's the only one we got, so we got to do what we can with it.
Well, I've watched you love life. I've watched you trip and fall. Not of your own doing. Well, no, but I mean, when your life took a huge, huge, unexpected transition and you turned on a dime and you just kept going. That is one of the most useful and admirable qualities. As a matter of fact, Margot Fontaine said that the most important quality for an artist is tenacity. And that just means you keep going. And so I've always admired you for that. And if we get into that particular moment in your life, I'll say more. But honestly, the decision makers that made that change happen are just FUBAR.
Well, it's interesting because, as much as I hate the saying everything happens for a reason, because I believe it's just something we tell ourselves to accept that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So whether you realize it then or you realize it later, eventually, hopefully, it'll come to you. I literally wouldn't be here right now, and I wouldn't have grown in the way that I did. I wouldn't have succeeded in the way that I have if it wasn't for certain things, or whether unfortunate or not, having happened in my life.
Damon.
In what you're saying, I really, I love that what you said, Julian, was that what you led with, was that you just sense because you do so much, you've done so many things, and in order to be really effective at something, you got to be passionate about it. So it just makes sense to me that to have done so many things, you must be passionate about just all areas of life, and that's what your main attitude would be.
Thank you.
Wow, absolutely. Well, I know we're going to be talking to Julian. Today is your day, Julian, and welcome to the Global Sunday. Thank you so much for making time.
Of course.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions that we're going to ask you, but I would like to turn to Mr. Ludden for today's news. I know there's a lot of things going on, but yeah, Mr. Ludden, do you want to give us the news updates?
Absolutely. Welcome to Global Sunday News. To Global Sunday News. Today is September 5th, 2021, and reporting for TGSN, I am Kenneth Ludden. In today's first segment, as we usually do, we're looking at news from around the world. There are a lot of things happening now that all seem to be results of things that happened before. The Taliban, taking over Afghanistan, that's not the story now. Now that they're in power, it's like, okay, how do we rule? How do we go forward? A country that relies on foreign aid and yet has a regime that does things that make the world reject them. What's that like? So we're going to be covering that. We're going to be covering the fires and the storm of our consumption of fossil fuels and the way that we live our life in society. We are going to be also covering parts of the political landscape and the results and the consequences of the things we do. So watch this very, very interesting combination. And I want to say, I'm very, very glad to report that we are again now bringing you news segments from Adaderna Studio 24 in Colombo, Sri Lanka. In my estimation and in the Global Sunday View, the very best news coverage worldwide that there is. So watch this and we'll talk about it after.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on World News Tonight. We start off today's coverage with the dangerous storm in the move on the United States. A remnant of Hurricane Ida unleashes tornadoes and flooding in Maryland as the storm hammers the East Coast. New York City Mayor declared a state of emergency due to what he called a historic weather event.
Touching down in and around Annapolis, Maryland this afternoon, tornadoes on the ground for many miles after spinning off from Hurricane Ida that slammed Louisiana.
Please make sure you're inside. Please make sure you're in your lowest level of your house.
In downtown Annapolis, power lines and signs ripped down in front of businesses. In nearby neighborhoods, roofs torn off and trees uprooted. Meanwhile, in Frederick, Maryland, flash flooding caught a bus driver off guard. 11 school kids rescued as the bus was submerged. Throughout the day, Ida unleashing blinding lightning and torrential rain on the nation's capital. The D.C. metro area under flood warnings and a tornado watch well into the evening. Overnight, 3 inches of flash rain swamped the region, tearing down trees, flooding intersections, and trapping drivers in their cars. In Rockville, Maryland, hundreds were forced to flee their apartments at 4 a.m. when a swollen river sent a wall of water surging into garden-level apartments as people slept. Police say a 19-year-old man drowned in his apartment, unable to get out.
They are now advising that there may possibly be 2 more adults, and she believes they are underwater.
Firefighters used boats to pull people to safety. In all, 150 people displaced. 1 resident still missing. Tonight, Ida continues to unleash tornadoes, dumping record amounts of rain as it marches up the eastern seaboard.
President Joe Biden assured Ukraine's leader Vladimir Zelensky that the United States opposes Russian aggression, but he showed no sign of moving on requests to open NATO to the Eastern European country.
Ukraine President Zelensky making big requests as he meets his American counterpart Joe Biden in the Oval Office. In response, Biden promised that he was firmly committed to Ukraine's sovereignty, and as evidence, he put money on the table.
We're revitalizing the Strategic Partnership Commission between our nations. And we're also creating a new strategic defense framework and a new $60 million security assistance package.
The military aid will be used to fight Russian-backed separatists in the Donbass region. The war has killed roughly 14,000 people since 2014, when Russia annexed Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula. Another source of security concern for Zelensky, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The project will transport natural gas directly from Russia to Germany, allowing Russia to bypass Ukraine, depriving it of revenue from transit fees. In July, Biden decided not to apply US sanctions, saying the project had already been nearly finished by the time he got into office and could not be stopped.
As Kabul began a new era of Taliban rule, long lines outside banks and soaring prices in the bazaars underline the everyday worries now facing its population after a spectacular seizure of the city 2 weeks ago.
The new era of Taliban rule in Afghanistan was marked by the departure of foreign troops, bloody attacks on civilians by Islamic State, and now an economic crisis. The country has a sinking currency and rising inflation. More than a third of the population lives on less than $2 a day. Banks, which closed as soon as the Taliban took Kabul, have now been ordered to reopen. But that means hours of queuing thanks to strict weekly limits on cash withdrawals. Many offices and shops are still shut, and some salaries have been unpaid for weeks, meaning even the relatively well-off are struggling to put food on the table. This market in Kabul has been flooded with people desperate to sell their goods. Remittances from abroad have also been cut off, so many families are trying to sell jewelry or household goods, even if they have to accept a fraction of their value. Prices for vegetables were up to 50% higher, according to vendors, while petrol prices were up by 75%. Taliban officials have said the problems will ease once a new government is in place. but the structural problems run deep. The country has no significant exports to generate revenue, and aid, which accounted for more than 40% of economic output, has abruptly disappeared.
With growing uncertainties in Afghanistan after the US military's rapid exit from the country, the Taliban says it will announce tomorrow the formation of a new government. The group will be led by Haibatullah Akhundzada, and he will head any government council that will be established.
Following America's complete withdrawal from Afghanistan, the Taliban said Wednesday that its supreme commander will head any governing council in the country. Saying Haibatullah Akhundzada will be the top leader, the Taliban added there will also be a prime minister post. Akhundzada was appointed to the post in 2016 and since then has had the final word on the group's political, religious, and military affairs. The Taliban also stressed the new government will be a model for the Afghan people. Russia's state-run news agency Sputnik reports that the Taliban will announce the formation of a new government on September 3rd. Meanwhile, the Taliban is reportedly in talks with the governments of Qatar and Turkey on ways to manage Kabul airport, as it does not have sufficient air traffic control services after the U.S. withdrawal. Technical teams from Qatar are now in Kabul to provide assistance. Wishing to be recognized as a normal state internationally, the Taliban is aiming to quickly resume the airport's operations. This comes as the Taliban is exerting tremendous efforts domestically to fight anti-Taliban forces. The group has sent fighters to the Panjshir Valley stronghold of the National Resistance Front, which includes both anti-Taliban fighters and former Afghan security forces who have vowed to defend the region. The valley, which starts some 80 kilometers north of Kabul, is the main enclave for anti-Taliban forces in Afghanistan.
And we're back. No, we're not.
Damen, we back?
Yes, thank you.
You're opening, Damen.
Yeah. Oh, we did do it already. Okay.
Stage fright.
And we're all like looking at the screen. I'm sure people at home, they're like, what the hell is going on?
Okay. I didn't know if that's the one. All right. Well, welcome back. So we're here with Julian Duque. Julian, so we know that you're a ballet dancer and a model and a photographer. And so I'd really like to hear about photography for a moment. Could you talk about how and where that started?
Yeah, I was about 12 years old in front of the middle school library, and I was just laying up against a tree. I have a very specific photographic memory, right? And I'm just laying back against a tree. I'm looking up at the sky, and I was like, man, this would make a beautiful picture. That's when I realized I was like, I'm going to be taking pictures for the rest of my life. I need a camera. So it wasn't until about 8 years ago that I finally was able to get myself a camera, and I started shooting when I was dancing at Miami City Ballet. I didn't have to dance one performance, so a friend let me borrow his camera. He gave me a quick little crash course. Turns out that I was pretty good, so I bought a camera on the spot the next day, and from there, here we are. I shoot everything. Like I was saying before, there's a lot of beauty in life. We all have our own perception of life. I see a lot of beauty in it, and I like to show that, regardless of whether it's a landscape or people or an event or whatever.
I remember when we were at a wedding of a mutual friend, and you were taking the pictures, and I thought, it was sort of in on a beach resort kind of thing. The wedding was beautiful. It was right on the ocean, in front of the shore with the beautiful yachts. It was in Saint-Tropez, and they were taking pictures as people went into the reception or into the wedding. It was for the wedding because the wedding anyway. And Julian was jumping around, up on a rock, down under a table, twisting around. I thought, wow, it's really good that he was a dancer first.
Yeah, definitely helps. Flexibility helps. All the strength and you need, but you got to do whatever it takes to get the shot. Little side note, actually, that was Reiner's wedding, and that is where Ken and I first met.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, good for both of you.
Small world.
So you've been doing that a really long time. You've been doing that since middle school. This is one of the art forms that you've been like developing for most of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a camera until I was 21, right? And I've been shooting since then. From the point that I was 12 until I was 21, obviously I saw everything before me and I'd use my cell phone to take photos, but I hadn't necessarily started to develop that craft. It wasn't until I got my camera and then I realized, okay, I might have a knack for this, and I taught myself watching videos on YouTube, taking different courses, reading about photography. There's a really good book for anybody that's interested, whether you're already an amazing photographer or not. If you are, then it's a good review. And if you aren't, then it'll really help you to take better pictures. It's called Read This If You Want to Take Better Photographs. It's maybe like $12 on Amazon. So if photography interests you, I highly recommend that book.
You know what that reminds me of is like when I've worked different day jobs in the past, that weren't my artistic work, and I would be like thinking of a composition or some art piece that I want to do and getting excited, like making it in my head, and then finally when I got off work, I'm like so excited that I can really, really do it. And it's like that, except 9 years instead of one work day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. You mentioned Julian. You mentioned that you didn't have a camera from the age of 12. You wanted to have a camera at the age of 12, but you only got a camera at the age of 21. Take us through that. You know, how did it feel for 7 years, wanting to have something, and you know, you don't, whatever the situation might be, or the obstacle that was avoiding you or stopping you from having a camera. You know, take us through that moment where you didn't have a camera while you wanted it.
I guess during that age, I was obviously more focused with my friends and kind of growing up through life, and I knew that eventually I would have a camera, so it wasn't like I was like, oh my god, I don't have a camera right now, what am I going to do? I knew I was going to get one. It was only a matter of time and ability. Once that time and ability did come, I was ecstatic, you know, because it's something that, again, for years, I'd even gone a couple times to look at a camera, but obviously they're expensive. So ultimately I was like, no, like I can't do it yet. I can't get one yet. So when I finally was able to get one, it was a mixture of knowing that, okay, I kind of want to do this, and since I took some photos that turned out really well, I was like, okay, I need to do this. It doesn't matter whether it's X amount or whatever. I can start with something basic and go from there.
You know, there's just doing something. There's doing something well. There's doing something and honing your craft so that it's something you can sell. You know, you can make a business out of it. And then there's the ultimate, and that is to become an artist. What qualities define an artist, in your opinion?
I think that everybody is an artist deep down. I think that 99%, or the majority of people, are afraid to be that artist because society has ingrained in us that we have to wake up and go to bed and wake up and go to bed and do whatever. So people are afraid to be weird or to just express themselves and to pretend. As you grow older, as a child, you don't care about that because you just haven't been made aware of that yet. So especially when I shoot people, I love to tell them that, to be whoever you actually are, not who you want me to see, not who you want the camera to see, the person that you are when you're alone. And I mean, maybe it's just me, I'm just very weird, and when I'm alone, I do all sorts of things, but I'm willing to bet that that's not the case. I'm willing to bet, hopefully, that most of you, might talk to yourself in a sense, or like converse with yourself. I do, sometimes I need expert advice. And that artist is what should always be representative of yourself, not just are they, how will they react if I do this or if they see me. It doesn't matter, because regardless of what you do, everyone's going to believe what they want to believe, not what you want them to believe. Whether you're a good person or a bad person, or whether you wear blue or you wear white, you look good, you look bad. That's why do what you want, do what makes you happy, because at the end of the day, if anybody disagrees with that, at least you'll still be happy.
Wow. You said a lot of amazing things there. It really feels so true about, you were kind of speaking of a quality of childhood, that kind of, sort of a childhood innocence and the open-eyed wonder with the world that an artist holds on to, maybe a little bit more than other people do. You have to in order to do the art. And it was really cool to hear you talk about how you try to get that out of the people that you're shooting, right? Out of your models. And because you're in touch with that as an artist and you're trying to help them get that. And I imagine that must make you a particularly artistic model, because because you try to get that out of your models, So that's pretty awesome.
I'm sorry?
Oh, nothing. I was just appreciating your answer.
Thank you. I was gonna say sorry.
Oh, go on.
No, I was gonna say that I've had people on certain shoots, and I tell them I'm not here. I like to shoot a lot at the beach. I like a lot of Herbert's work to anybody who knows that, or if you don't know him, Google him and you'll find some here trying to judge me in any way. I can actually be whoever I want. And I think that part of my dance background also helps a lot with that, because it's like taking a choreographer and a dancer. The choreographer's job is to pull that out of the dancer, right? While the dancer is giving as much as possible. So I think of that when I shoot someone. We're both working together to make each other to dig as deep down as we can to create something incredible.
Wow. Thank you. So we're going to go to the news now.
Yeah, maybe let's check the news with Mr. Ludden, and this is an interesting talk, and I can't wait to comment on that one. But let's check the news. Mr. Ludden, you ready to give us the second segment of the news, COVID-19?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Global Sunday News. Again, I'm Kenneth Ludden reporting for TGSN. And as always, we are looking at COVID as our second news segment. The Delta variant is teaching us some very, very important lessons, and it's also teaching us how very serious this pandemic is. So again, from Adadarana, Studio 24 in Colombo, Sri Lanka, watch our second segment, and I will be back after to talk about it with you.
Welcome back, and moving on to the updates on the COVID crisis. India's economy grew by a record 20.1% between April and June compared to the same period last year when the country was experiencing a deep recession. The strong growth comes despite India seeing a surge in COVID-19 cases during that period. Now crossing over to Adadarana World News Special Correspondent Gayatri Gunasekar reporting now from Delhi in India for more details. Gayatri.
Yes, Shenali, Indian cities have started preparing for a possible third wave of COVID-19 by strengthening the health and medical infrastructure to avoid the horrific scenario that the country witnessed during the first and second wave. India's health infrastructure proved inadequate when COVID-19 cases surged in April and May this year, leading to tens of thousands of deaths as hospitals ran out of oxygen and beds. Infections have started rising again, and experts warn another big jump around October, India's peak festival season. Federal and state governments have said they are more prepared this time around. Almost all states are setting up special pediatric wards as experts warn unvaccinated children could be vulnerable to any mutations in the virus. Some states are also stocking up on antiviral drugs. India is also trying to vaccinate a big majority of its 944 million adults with at least one dose before another COVID-19 wave. More than 52% of its adults have been partially vaccinated so far. Back to you, Shenali.
All right, thank you. That was Other Than a World News Special Correspondent Gayatri Gunasekara reporting from Delhi in India. The World Health Organization has identified another variant that could potentially have immunity to vaccines. For more on this, let's cross over to Other Than a World News Special Correspondent Danushka Marwansa reporting now from Tromsø in Norway. Danushka.
Yes, Shanali. The WHO added variant B.1.621, labeled the mu variant, to the variant of interest list. It said that the mu variant has a constellation of mutations that indicate potential properties of immune escape. It's the first variant of interest to be added to the list since June after inclusion of the Lambda variant. This strain was spotted in January in Colombia, and while it makes up less than 0.1% of cases worldwide, it accounts for 34% of all infections in Colombia. While it accounts for only a small percentage of global cases, scientists are studying whether it has properties that would help it get past immune protections built up by vaccinations or past infections. The WHO stressed that more research was needed to understand the mu variant's effects, but Dr. Griffin said there was no evidence that suggested that it fit the bill as an escape variant. However, data showed mu variants to be more resistant to antibodies. Back to you, Shanali.
All right, thank you. That was Other Than a World News Special Correspondent Danushka Marwansa reporting from Tromsø from Norway. Japan's health ministry said that contaminants found in suspended Moderna COVID-19 vaccines were particles of stainless steel, and it did not expect they would pose an additional health risk.
Authorities in Japan have reported another suspected case of contamination in Moderna's coronavirus vaccines, the fourth such incident in less than a week. The country suspended the use of over 1.6 million doses of Moderna shots last week, after being notified of contamination in some of the supply. The latest incident comes from Kanagawa Prefecture, where several black particles were found in a vial of vaccine. It added that 3,790 people had already received shots from the same lot, but the rest is put on hold. The Japanese government has said the particles may be pieces of rubber caused from needles that were incorrectly inserted into vials, breaking off bits of the rubber stopper. Moderna and Spanish pharmaceutical company Rovi, which bottles Moderna vaccines, have said the cause could be a manufacturing issue, and European safety regulators have launched an investigation. Moderna says no safety or efficacy issues had been identified from the issue. The vaccine's Japanese domestic distributor, Takeda Pharmaceutical, did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the Kanagawa incident. But the company posted a notice on its website on Wednesday, saying that on rare occasions during manufacturing, rubber stopper material can get mixed into the vaccine solution. The contamination incidents come as Japan is battling its worst wave of infections, driven by the Delta variant. About 45% of its population has been fully vaccinated, lagging behind several developed countries.
An ever-swelling amount of space debris is threatening satellites that hover around Earth, making insurers leery of offering coverage to devices that transmit text, maps, videos, and scientific data.
Outer space has a litter problem. Earth orbit is filling up with man-made junk. There are over 8,000 satellites up there, with more than 40% now inactive. Then there are thousands of bits of random debris from old launches. And that raises the risk of collisions, putting the satellite business at risk. Insurers have told that they are increasingly wary of providing cover. One, Assure Space, says it has generally stopped insuring spacecraft in low Earth orbit. The few policies it has provided exclude collision damage. Elon Musk is one to face questions. His SpaceX rocket company has been busy launching satellites for its space-based broadband service. The firm wouldn't say whether it had insurance. Other major firms, including Google, Amazon and Apple, depend on satellites to move data. Science, telecoms and other sectors would face huge challenges if orbital systems stopped working. Industry experts say only half of all satellite launches are now insured, with that proportion expected to fall further. Some fear that space could get so crowded that a cascade of collisions could be set off. For now, at least, that is theoretical. Over the past decade, only 11 spacecraft have been totally or partially destroyed by collisions, according to consultancy Serra data. But the risks are growing, and that makes it ever harder to ignore the underlying problem. Right now, no one is doing anything to tidy up space.
The situation in the world is serious. The decisions we make, the way that we live our lives, the repercussions, the consequences aren't just for us and our families and our neighborhoods. They're for every human being alive now and those who might be alive in the future if we can learn. This new movement that is called Extinction Rebellion is something that is very important. Politicians, world leaders have to wake up, but so do we individually. The world gave too many antibiotics for too many years, which create an opportunity for a COVID and then a COVID Delta variant and the Lambda variant that is growing in South America right now and whatever is coming afterwards. But the way we live our lives, the way that we rely on anything that is printed or video that we see, people can no longer distinguish between those things that are true and the result of serious study and analysis and those things that are conjecture and projections. As my mother says, people shuffling through the if deck. What if this? What if that? And if becomes as real as fact. We are in a crisis. If the human race is to survive, COVID, the hurricanes, the fires, our satellite networks can be completely obliterated with all of the garbage that we're leaving in space and things that we don't even know about yet. We need to wake up. And I hope that this broadcast from the Global Sunday News will be one of the try to wake from their sleep. I'm Kenneth Ludden for the Global Sunday News. Thank you.
You are watching Global Sundays.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
You've been around for a while. Look at what you've been through. All these diamonds, all these chains, I think it's time to see you. Never mind about this group, it'll still never be you. You're smarter and you got a passion like a smile on you. I got a Glock on you, got it locked on you. Make it a splash for you, I like that ice on you. I be around the block just to change the weather for you. You come in bigger waves, you got my on you. Tell these haters no way, I'm gonna marry you. And it ain't no debate, I'm gonna die for you. Shorty, you drive me insane, on your ocean I sink. All that money that we're spending, call it isn't the pain. You look so amazing, I've been thinking about you lately. Please tell me, are you ready? Pillow and I got you, you're my number one. I'ma always keep it true when it's under sun. I'ma always keep it true when it's under sun. I've been thinking about you lately. Please tell me, are you ready? Woke up in the morning with a lot of bad news, and somebody got shot and nobody can undo it. Can somebody do it? Nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. I hope you stay safe. I'll clean those tears off your face. I'ma keep it running, I'ma do the paper chase. All this just hating cause they can reach the pace. Cutting all this on yeah, straight up to the bank. Yeah, girl, you are the one I'm finna pay for. Knocking at your front door, get them be some man though. I'm with a drum and shit, I'm never prepared for. I got to shoot diamond ring up inside a Lambo. You look so amazing, I've been thinking about you lately. Please tell me are you ready? Fellow when I got you're my number one. I'ma always keep it true when it's under sun. I'ma always keep it true when it's under sun. I've been thinking about you lately. Please tell me are you ready? Please tell me are you ready? Cause I've been feeling lonely. Shawty, I've been waiting for you all day. Yeah.
And welcome back to the Global Sunday Show. That was Deep Rapper, Betty Lapayana on You. That's a very nice music video. If you remember, that video was directed by Lungani Gwala. Wow, and we say, boo, 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 boo. Absolutely. Welcome back, guys. I am going to be sending shout outs to people who are watching at home. I see there's comments, and if you do have a question for Julian, you are allowed. Are they allowed, Julian? Are they allowed? Yes, yeah. You are allowed to ask a question if you have a question for Julian. And also we are going to be playing a video from Julian. Yes, it's a very nice video. When it starts, it's so professional that you won't think that it's, you know, something that is related to, you know, one of us here. I mean, or, you know, but it's so amazing. It's like out of this world, you know. Yeah, absolutely. So, Julian, welcome back to the Global Sunday Show, and I have a question for you.
I may have an answer.
If you have an answer, you can answer me. If you don't have an answer, that's fine too. But you are an artist with, you know, multiple art forms. You know, you dance, you're a photographer, and public appearance, which is modeling. But how are they different and how are they similar?
Oh, okay. How are they? I guess let's start with how are they different?
Right.
Well, for starters, being a photographer and a model, you're on opposite sides of the lens, you know. And what was the third? Oh, and the dancing. That's very much more physical, but that's also a similarity to the photography because I'm not the kind of guy. I don't just stand there and kind of like, okay, move it. Like I am all over the place and doing whatever I need to do to make sure that I get the shot. So that's similar. They are also similar in that I'm very passionate about all of them, but that stems back to what I've already mentioned, that I'm just passionate about everything that I do in life. Everything that I do, I try to do it the best that I can. Otherwise, why do it, you know? I don't know. I think that they help each other, you know, my dancing ability with the photographic ability, with the modeling, as you say, ability. They help me learn from each one to be able to use it in another. So it's like a circle that's constantly growing. I guess it would be a cylinder. Just think of a sphere instead.
Wow. Damen?
It's really cool to hear another artist saying that. I agree so much. Like, I've had that experience with different art forms informing each other. Especially for me, just music and storytelling. And, you know, it's like I just see the similarities so much. And I can imagine, yeah, with, of course, being a model informs your photography, being a photographer informs your modeling, and dancing, of course. Wow. And it's like, as a dancer, you're a model in motion, right? That's really cool to think about it from that angle, because those are all art forms I haven't done. and you do so well. So it's really cool to hear you say it.
You know, at the Academy, you know, Margot Fontaine, who created the educational program and the syllabus and curriculum for the Academy, you know, she danced her first leading role at the age of 16. And from that day forward until she was 68, she only danced leading roles. She had that kind of talent. She said it took her 30 years until she was 46 to learn everything she actually needed to know to even do that first performance. And so in the Academy, the students, yes, it's centered on classical ballet, but they must learn in-depth music, drama, visual arts, technical arts, scholastic arts. You and I have worked together in class, in ballet class. And I think that one of my observations of you is that you're able to instantly translate spoken imagery, which is words making visual, into actual movement. The quality in dance called eurythmic, which is taking something from the example I like to give is over a lake and how it gets quicker and quicker and quicker. A Grieg piano concerto that goes bum, 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 bum. And it has that eurythmic. It's a rhythm from nature. And when the pianist uses their hands to do that, like they're bouncing off of something with a forward trajectory, then the music is real for everybody listening. In dance, we do something that's called a double. It's a beat and it goes bum, bum. Well, what goes bum, bum? Your heart. Every time there is a beat, every time there's a double beat, the audience, without knowing it here necessarily, they feel it. This is true. It's real. It's reality, what's happening. So in working with you, I find it so easy to give you something, you can digest it and turn it into movement. Something verbal that is visual becomes movement. Is that different for you? I mean, I think that it comes from these different art forms that you participate in, but you're able to absorb it. I'd love to just hear your ideas about that.
Well, I was gonna add that with all of them, whether it's dance or modeling, or whether it's dance, photographing, or being on the other side of the camera, the end goal is to get someone to feel something, you know, to look at a photo and to not understand why it's captivating, whether it's, and it's not like, oh wow, it's a beautiful photo. No, it's like, I can't explain what it is about that photo that I can't look away. Whether it's because it may be a very simple photo, but you realize that those simplicities were complex to acquire, you know, like it wasn't just like we stood somewhere and snapshot something and okay, now we have a great photo. No, there's a process behind that. The same goes for modeling, whether it's for a photo or a commercial or something. You're trying to get someone to ultimately feel what it is that you're emulating. And obviously with dance, when you're being that expressive, you're trying, as a performer, which I guess all of these are in a sense, you're trying to get people who watch you to forget about their problems in their life. They want to get lost in what you have to offer and what you have to show to them. And especially with dance, that's, you know, there's a certain rhythm within everybody. There's a frequency. And that's, you know, that's why even now, still, again, tapping my knee. So everyone just, and a lot of people are afraid to explore that. It goes back to what I was saying about being an artist. Everybody's an artist. People don't like to dance because they think they can't dance, and that's a lie. Everybody can dance. When you see somebody dancing, I mean, obviously not everybody can dance hip-hop like Lungani or ballet like Reiner, but everybody can move. The reason why people don't is because they're afraid, again, of what other people might think of them. But in reality, if you just have fun and you just enjoy yourself, everybody envies that because they think, why can't I do that? They don't think, why can't I dance? They think, why can't I be so comfortable that I let myself go in a situation regardless of who's around?
Wow. Well, you said a lot there about what makes a good performance, what makes a successful performance. I'm going to ask you to think of something even more beyond what you just said there as I ask you this next question. which is for you as a dancer, or I might say more generally, just as a performer, in your career, which performance was your best and why?
I've been fortunate to dance many different things, be they easy, be they hard, and every experience is different. You know, everything, just like life, everything has something to offer. And I've had many that I've enjoyed for different reasons, but I'm gonna go with this one because it's the first one that just came right to mind. There was one when I was a student at CPYB, the Pennsylvania Youth Ballet in Pennsylvania, and I danced the Nutcracker Pas de Deux, and it was a rehearsal. But again, I worked very hard, so my partner and I, we would just rehearse all the time just because we wanted to get better at it, you know? And there was one rehearsal where it was just, it felt flawless, and dare I say, the room was still. It just felt and it looked great. So I would say that one probably.
Great.
Well, it's really amazing that you mentioned that some people are kind of like scared to try stuff. You know, I remember on our previous show, I said, you can during this challenging time, you can just try and do something and just be busy. I even said you can take your phone and just take it apart and see what's inside. You might find something that you fall in love with, and who knows, it might take you to the next level where you end up fixing phones or creating your own phone and stuff like that. So that's really amazing that you mentioned that most of us, we are afraid to try things. And I always say that if you do not find out what your talent is, we might lose something that we'll never ever find again in this world. So people, they get too comfortable with how they live. Okay, yes, I'm working, I'm earning, and I'm able to support my children, I'm able to support myself, but what about the purpose that you are here for, in which it's your talent, something that you do, it heals you and also heals somebody that looks at you when you do it. I mean, I have a friend whom I didn't know she can play a guitar, and one day we went to her place, and then she grabbed the guitar. I didn't even know she had a guitar, and she's a very, very shy lady. She started playing a guitar and she started singing, and she was like completely somebody else, and I was like, oh my God, you healed me. I enjoyed watching you. It was like a minute performance, and she wasn't even aware, because she was doing something that she loves, without using so much strength and stressing, and she just sang and started playing a guitar. I was like, oh my God, and I came back home and I sent her a text. I was like, that was amazing. I've never seen you like that. I've never seen that side of you, and I said, it opened my eyes. I was like, okay, a performance doesn't only heal a person that performs, but it heals a person that performs and the person that watches the performance, So if you don't chase your dreams, if you don't find out what you're here for, you might be losing, you might be missing on a lot of things, a lot of profound things, and you might be, there might be a lot of people that you're supposed to be healing, and they lose their healing because of you not trying a lot of different things, because you are scared of failure, you are scared to try things, you think you're not good enough and stuff like that. There's no such things, like Julian said. I mean, that's really amazing. Sorry, I'm starting to become Mr. Talk too much, but I'll pass it over to Mr. Ludden.
So so Julian, what you're saying about it, that it's and it also is true for members. Earlier in the show, when Lungani asked Damen about liking dance, Damen added, well, I don't know a lot about it, but what do you need to know to understand what it means when someone turns their back on someone else? or when somebody reaches out and runs toward them with their arms outstretched, or when somebody stops where they are and becomes rigid. We understand reality. And as long as the performer is able to go to that reality place, then the audience will be able to go to that, give themselves permission. Your photographs might be in a museum, in an art gallery, in an art museum. Now a gallery is a commercial place. They've changed the name, but you go to a museum and they're like, oh no, I don't want to go to the museum. It's just boring. But if they go to the museum and they look at what's being done now in art, what's being done now in art is about now. It's about them. It's about their life. It's about their experiences. And so everybody needs that. I think one of the positive things that we can learn from the social media, the cadence of development of technology that ended up with TikTok, where people are being very creative and they're going there and they don't mind looking really silly and they don't mind looking, like really going with abandon to some place of reality and expressing it outwardly, and that's so appreciated. The tone deaf guy who's lovesick, who's singing out loud in the middle of the grocery store how much they love somebody, that gets applause more than any great art performance. You know what I mean? When somebody just lets themselves go there, it's just like, yes, and what are we afraid of? Artists and audience, just, run naked around the block once. No, don't do that. Don't do that. But you know what I mean? So anyway, I just wanted to say that, let's look at a live video, talk about, creative expression. Let's look at this video and we'll continue our conversation on the other side. Oh.
I am the future.
We are the future.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Yes, that was Julian. Oh man, they say in the I don't know if it's the hip hop industry where they say it's dope. That was dope. That was dope. That was dope. Before I read the comments, but I would like to ask a little bit more about, if that's okay with you, if you're comfortable with that, about the video that we just watched now. Okay. The first one, you were you were dancing, I don't know if it was a rehearsal or something, but you're gonna tell us what that is. And the second one is like a game trailer. Tell us more about that.
The first one, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, that was a while ago. That was about 6 years ago. That was the audition video that I had made to send out to different companies when I was trying to leave Miami City Ballet. And so it was just me in the studio. I obviously filmed it. And as I watch it now, I'm like, we're always our own worst critics. So I watch it and I was a little baby Julian. But it was good. It was a fun, it's from a ballet called Albrecht, or Giselle, and the male role is Albrecht. Ironically, also my favorite in classical ballet. If you ever have a chance to go see it, it's an incredibly fatiguing ballet. And the second video is, again, along the lines, I photograph. This has been mentioned, but I work also for a watchmaking brand. And what I do in LA is when I have the time, that's when I explore the modeling opportunities, and as they arise, I take advantage of them. This video was one of them. It was a really cool experience. There was just a huge green screen behind. For like 2 hours, I literally just said, "I am the future," over and over again. And I don't know if anybody knows the game. It's for Fantasy Star Online 2, and it was a great experience. It was fun, just like every other little shoot that I've had. I do it more for fun and because I have the opportunity to, and that's generally how I live my life. I explore everything that I want. There's a very famous graduation speech that Steve Jobs gave, I believe at Stanford, and he made a point to explain how important it is to do what you love, not just follow the path, follow the norm. And I am a very big proponent of that. I like to do what I like, or what I want to learn more about. I am working on a fourth language that my friends look at me and they're like, "Why are you learning once?" And imagine yourself on your deathbed, right, at the end of your life, whether it's 80, 100, 200, and standing next to your deathbed is the person that you could have been. The person that, had you worked a little harder, the person that, had you quit your job and explored this idea, the person that, had you started this project, would have excelled in all this. That person is standing right next to you. Just think of that. That really, you want that person to be the one that's dying, not the one that's standing next to you watching you die.
It's funny you say that. The ballet Giselle, in my mind, is the perfect ballet. The role of Albrecht is the role that I felt I was born to perform. And I worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. I danced every other role in that ballet. And then finally in 1982, I was cast in it, and I was cast in it and was going to do it with many different companies all over the world. It was like the answer. And then as I was working on it, back in those days, if you learned a major role, you took a year or a year and a half to learn it before you performed it. Now they do it in 2 weeks. But I worked on it, and then in 1983, I was on a world tour, and as soon as the world tour ended, I was going to do my Giselle tour as Albrecht. And at the end of the first week was a live televised gala in New York, and during that performance, my Achilles tendon exploded in the middle of the performance, and I spent the next 3 years in a wheelchair, and another 6 months after that, crutches with casts on both legs. Needless to say, I never danced Albrecht, and because of that accident. And so what you say about imagine on your deathbed the person you might have been, it's interesting because I think that had I not had the accident and had I danced longer, and my career not suddenly ended when I was only 30 years old, I would have danced Albrecht. But the person I am today was the one that was able to keep going. And I was young enough at 30, I was well known enough to have support from everywhere in the world, people wanting to help me do whatever it was. I was given a free college education. I was invited to do choreography and coaching and teaching all over the world. And so the person I am today is actually a more accomplished person than if I had done the Albrecht and danced until I was 40 or 50 and then not had any other skill. And, I wouldn't have the books that I published or any of those things. So I think it's very, very important. But talking about roles and developing a career and focusing just on the dance, how do you choose your dancing roles? And in the future, what dancing roles would you like to interpret?
Well, I love to dance, whether it's salsa, merengue, anything Hispanic, bachata. I love anything with a rhythm, which is literally any beat, even the silence. I love to just move even when I go out for whatever reason, regardless of the style. But as far as performing, I love ballet. I love strict classical ballet because it's the most difficult to make seem so easy, and it's so grand. And I would love to eventually perform Albrecht, all of the story ballets. I've been fortunate enough to do them, whether in a rehearsal or in a small performance here and there. But ultimately, I would love to perform those for the world in a way.
Before Margot died, she knew she was dying. We did not yet know. She hadn't shared it with us. And, first of all, to create the Academy or continue the work on the Academy to make sure that the next golden age of ballet came from the storytelling, dance, music, drama traditions of Africa. And just in my spare time to take the rhythms and steps of Latin dances and incorporate them as new steps in ballet. Ballet has 284 steps. She thought we could probably get another 10 or 15 brand new steps that come from Latin dancing. So since you said you like any kind of dancing and you mentioned some of the Latin dance forms, I'm going to pass that assignment on to you because I'm just like really busy and really old. But I would like to do that. Damon, over to you.
Well, the buck just keeps getting passed, doesn't it? maybe the buck will stop with you, Julian. That's really great to hear about. I always really appreciate when an artist who's admired and well regarded tips their hat. Well, you didn't want to tip your hat to the classical side of things, but mention that you appreciate most doing the classical because in all the art forms that is the most demanding, as you said, and it also gives you the broadest understanding. At university, I work with a lot of students who, in fact, the area where I teach, it's specifically people who want to be producers, and some of them want to be classical composer, some of them want to be film composers, some of them want to be just producers for their artists, some of them want to be hip hop artists. They kind of run the gamut, but they're more technology oriented, they're more modern oriented, and I'm their classical theory instructor, and so I have to kind of convince them of the importance of it. So I just really appreciate hearing another explain that the classical is so important to them and what that does for you as an artist. Yeah. So I'm wondering, as a dancer, as an international dancer, what does it feel like to perform in front of a huge audience for you?
Myself down a little bit. I don't know if I'd say international dancer. I will say that I've performed on some. I've been fortunate enough to perform on some very large stages in front of thousands of people, and it's a rush. Just like an athlete, when you're competing, you're doing it for yourself, and ultimately as a performer you have to do it for yourself. There is a part of you, again, you're doing it for the people because they're paying to come be taken away from their problems and their issues to enjoy whatever it is that you have to offer. But at the end of the day, all the work that you do and everything that you've learned is just for you. I used to take class and perform every day like it would be my last, because one day it would be. And we all know how life is. Everything just goes like this. So eventually, when I'd get to that point, it wouldn't have made a difference if I had worked a little bit less or a little more, whatever. I had to do everything that I could within that period of time, because one day I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So what's the difference between your first class in something and your last class in something? You still have to appreciate it just as much, because at one point they'll just be the same.
I just want, before I ask my next question, I just want to appreciate people who are watching and sending us comments. I'm just gonna take 3, and then later on we'll see if we can take some more comments. But shout out to Vusi Zwane. He's sending a comment and saying, "I'm in, guys. I will bring my African soul jazz boys in the United States." That's amazing. Mama Mia Tabi ati poo 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 poo. I can also move. Shout out to you, Mama Mia. Send us a video of yourself moving so we can approve that you can move. And then we have, of course, Bongi Wemsomi, aka Miss Classic, and she is inviting everybody on the 24th of September. There is an event going on there. And yeah, we are going to post details of that event, so you guys can be able to go and attend that event. I'm sure it's in Durban. And on the 12th of September, it is African New Year's. So we are going to be celebrating African New Year's. If you want to join us, please make sure that you join us on that weekend. We'll be celebrating African New Year's. But yeah, my question for you, Mr. Julie. First of all, it's really amazing what you are sharing with us. You know, I am learning a lot as a person who is new, and especially in the ballet industry and here in America. I mean, I know I've traveled also a lot of different countries, and there's different culture in the music, in the dance, and in general. And I'm starting to learn the American culture when it comes to music and dance, and as you share, I am growing and I am learning, and thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And now, how have you experienced the past 1 to 2 years, and what helped you to move on, especially in these circumstances, these obstacles that we facing as the world, what keeps you moving?
I guess the fact that you don't really have a choice. You have to keep going through life. You can either sit there and feel sorry for yourself or complain, but then you're just bringing a bunch of negative energy towards yourself, and that's definitely not going to help you get along. A lot of people say you fake it till you make it. Sometimes you got to fake your happiness until it comes, because it's there. You just have to find it. With COVID, actually, COVID for me was helpful in the sense that it created an environment in which I could get a lot of my photography, a lot of my content, organizing everything, all of the thousands of photos that I'd always say, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this. I finally did something with it, not just have thousands of photos on hard drives. I went through them, I sorted out what I actually wanted to share with the world, something that I'm doing again now, kind of a round 2. And it caused me to, in a sense, I saw it as a way that it leveled the playing field for everybody, because regardless of whether you're rich, poor, or on one side of the world or the other, we all had this same reset, more or less. We all had to be inside. We all had this gift of time, which, forget money, time is the most important thing, because you can have all the money in the world, but that doesn't matter if you're about to die. But it gave us all this time to explore all the things that we wanted to do or we couldn't do before. Think of all the people that either left their jobs or were let go of their jobs, and then finally were like, you know what, I'm going to start this, or I'm going to do what I've been wanting to do. And a lot of them succeeded. Maybe some of them didn't, and then realized, you know what, that's not what I needed to do. I need to do this instead. I think, obviously, did have its consequences. It was a toll to the world. Dare I say, it was a necessary toll to the world, so that we can kind of realize, okay, what are we actually doing with our life? Are we just, again, waking up to go to sleep, to work, to go to sleep on this spinning globe for what point, you know?
You know, that one of the things that this time opportunity gave the opportunity for you and me is to work together. To, you know, we had started back in Miami, and just the busyness, the not having time made it impossible. And this has really given us a time, you know, for me to pass on some of the information, ballet, but also because we have time, you don't have a director saying, quick, you got to get, you can afford to take the time, you know, to bake the cake in the oven long enough for it to come out, you know, right, and not be half baked when it's presented. So now just think right now, you know, we're sitting on this global television broadcast, and there are the people that you're reaching here, but then there are the people that you reach through your photography, through your modeling, through your dancing, through your life, you're living your life, you know, your neighbors. Okay, think of the sphere of all the people that you can have an impact on in the near and far future. What does that call to action in you?
Just to be a good person, you know, to do, along with the ideals that I've shared of being so passionate about life. I love to meet people. I love to learn. I'm a very analytical person. So when I meet someone, I try to learn, you know, I analyze what they have to share, the way they act, not only to learn about themselves and whatever experiences they've had, how that could help me in the future, how that teaches me about myself, why I may be a certain way, or why I might react to something. Because there are 8 billion people on the world. We all have our own point of view. A lot of us may share those points of view, but generally speaking, we are right. You know, we only see life through our eyes. Even here right now, what you see is different than what I see. I see this camera that I've just been looking at for almost an hour now. You guys see everything else that's going around. You see me. You see this frame. I don't know. We just have to be good, I believe, and not stress. Always be kind. Always be grateful. Honestly, that is the biggest thing, is just always be grateful.
Wow. That's nice to hear, that's the first thing you think of as far as the sphere of impact. It's about how you live your daily life, not just what you create in your art. But hearing that from you kind of makes me know that your art would take that into consideration, that you want to have a positive impact with everything you do with your art, that it's part of being kind of a neighbor. It's how you practice your art. I appreciate that answer.
I was going to say, sorry, that it's like you were saying before, you're a storyteller, a composer and a storyteller. We're all storytellers, or we should be, because that's fine. They'll go away. Somebody else will.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering, for you, from when you were young and you wanted to be an artist, how has the support of and you were an artist, but in choosing to do this as a career, how's the support from your family members been? Did they understand the direction you were taking?
When I was little, I used to literally, but if someone would ask me, right, sure, I'd say I want to be an artist, I want to be a scientist, I want to be an engineer, I want to be an inventor, I want to be a clown, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a mathematician, because everything interested me in life. And when I graduated high school, there was nothing that I thought of, even though everything interested me, there was nothing that I felt, I want to wake up and do this every day for the rest of my life. So I started dancing, and I realized in my first year of training that regardless of what, I don't know how, but this is what I want to do. I want to be a professional ballet dancer. And a lot of things in my life, I generally don't know how it is that things happen or how it is that I will get somewhere, but I know that I want it. And even just that alone is the first step to making it happen. Even if you don't have the steps to bridge you there, it's not the whole way. It's just one after the other until you eventually get there. You know, like the languages, for whatever reason, eventually they'll help me in a way. And when I first started dancing, my mom, she supports me in everything that I do. She was kind of surprised, for sure. You know, she didn't necessarily, she's like, well, don't you want to go to college or this, whatever. I was like, no, I want to dance. And as long as I'm happy, that's all that she cares about. That's all that she wanted. You know, I dance, and then I took a little break from dance to do what I do now and photograph. I'm still dancing, and I still do everything. So at the end of the day, as long as I'm happy, my family is happy. Thankfully, there was never anything like, no, why are you doing that, or you shouldn't do that, or whatever. So I'm grateful for that.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, amazing. You know, when you mention that point that people should, you know, just do something and do it over and over again until, you know, it becomes something. You know, it's really funny because a lot of us, we don't understand. Some people, they call it consistency. You know, no matter how hard it is, if you keep doing it and doing it over and over and over again, there'll be a time where you like, boom, and you find yourself doing it right. You know, it's like practice when we kids or when we babies, we cannot walk and we crawl. You know, we try to walk, we fall so many times, and eventually we start walking. You know, but the funny part is that as we crawl on our knees, we are actually strengthening our joints so we can be able to walk properly. You know, so I look at what people call failure as something that strengthens you or prepares you for what's coming in the future, so you can still stand tall and be bold and be like, you know, I know what I'm doing, and I've been doing this long enough to pass it on to the other people that are coming behind us. That's really amazing. But you know, I know we've got like two more questions or one more question, but I do want to play a video from Natim Tembu, which is a new music video that just released a day ago, and it's gonna be playing here for the first time. And you know, before I play the video, is there anything that you want to say, Mr. Julian?
I just want to add to what you were saying about failure. Think of, you know, anything that you're good at. I'm sure we all do have a natural apt for certain things, but even then, if you were just perfect at it from the get-go, what is there to appreciate? If you don't fail, then you don't learn to grow. If you don't fall, you don't learn to get back up. Like when you're a baby, if you just magically walked for the rest of your life, and then somebody tripped you or you happen to fall for whatever reason, what are you gonna do? You don't know how to get up because you've never fallen before. But the more you fall, not only the better you know how to get back up, but the better you know how to not fall in the future. And I appreciate failure just as well, because the more you fail, the more you're likely to succeed, and the more that you're prepared for success.
Mr. Ludden, Damen, before we play this video from Natim Tembu, anything you want to say about failure?
I wanted to say that that's one of the things I've dedicated a lot of time to in my life, failing. You know, every single thing, every one of us, every one of you out there watching this knows for sure is coming from having tried and failed and sticking with it and learning from the failure exactly how to do something. It is remarkable that life provides so much more absolute certain knowledge from our failures and our mistakes than it does from what we get right. And I work with a lot of, I think currently it's like 55 or 56 professional leading dancers. And to try to get them in class to fail so they'll learn something. Try to get them to fall over. Try to get them to move their arm so fast that it knocks them sideways. Because if they never do that, they never learn that the movement of their arm is much more powerful than they're using. There's so much more, but you gotta fail. As you said about your mom, say what? What you said about your mom, that's fine. You need that kind of support too, not just from the outside world, but from your own self, so that you can face those failures and know that you'll put yourself back together again. You've got this friend, this buddy, this pet, that a pet that's going to love you whether you're having a good day or a bad day. They're still going to want to lick your face. You need that as well. And this goes back to what you said about the arts. You also have to be willing to make a fool of yourself. You have to go into that zone that other people might criticize you for, and man, anybody who criticizes anybody who's up there doing it, all I say to them is, if you can do it so much better, then why the hell are they the one that got the job and not you? Damon, what do you have to say?
Well, my grandma gave me illustration and watercolor painting lessons when I was a kid, and she taught me that you learn from mistakes. Mistakes are how you learn, is what she said. And I took that to sort of a superstitious degree, which is that if I felt like I did really well, I would just like make a little mistake on purpose on the drawing, because I don't think I quite. But yeah, I mean, I feel like when you encounter failures, when the failure doesn't make you decide you're going to give up, but when you just get more persistent and you learn from the failure, oh, I have to work on these things so that I can do it better, and then you start working harder. That's how you know that this is something you're really passionate about, that is the kind of thing you should be spending your life on, because you need to want it that bad, right? And that's so important as an artist. It's just so important as an artist, because to choose that life, you have to want it so bad that it doesn't matter how much failure you encounter. You've got to just be persistent through it. So that's what I'd say about failure.
Powerful, yeah, amazing. Let's watch this video from Natim Tembu. It's a brand new music video, and it is playing for the first time. Shout out to you, Natim Tembu. We'll see you guys when we come back. But we about to end the show, but we still have a few questions. We still have an amazing discussion with Julian. So I'll see you guys when we come back. The Global Sunday, Lungani Gwala.
Welcome back. And I don't know if you guys out there watching this really, and that was a first time history of the universe that artist's new work was presented. And most artists' work start off regionally or locally. To have a start that is global, is wonderful. Now, I have a bit of a funny story about Margot, as a lot of people would come up to Margot and say, oh, I want to be just like you. And she would say, oh, no, don't do that. The universe abhors redundancy. And if you were just like me, one of us wouldn't be necessary, and I'd be afraid it would be me. So with that in mind, Julian, what would you say to a person who wants to be just like you in their future?
It's funny because though I didn't know what questions were being asked, I think I kind of heard that this one would maybe be one of them, and I thought about it earlier. I was going to say the same thing. Don't be yourself. You know, you can emulate me just the same way that I emulate other people who I admire, who I think are great, in the sense that I want to accomplish what they've accomplished. I want to feel what they felt. But you want to be yourself. You want to give the world everything that you have to offer, not what I have to offer. That doesn't mean that you can't be a dancer and a photographer and a model and all these things. You're more than welcome to do it, but do it in your style and to your liking, not somebody else's exact just because, oh, that's what they have, so that's what I want. You get what you want by doing what you want to do, not necessarily by copying somebody else.
Yeah, I remember when I would be a guest artist, people would find out what age I was when I started, how tall I was, what weight I was, what shoes, what kind of ballet shoes I wore. And then they would say, "Oh my goodness, I wear the same size shoe, the same, and I was born the same day." And like, yeah, you're right. But is there any advice? Because there are a lot of dancers out there who are photographers, and a lot of dancers who are also models. So that trifecta is very common. Is there any advice that you would have on, to how to maintain themselves, but how to accomplish within the field with that kind of a combination?
As we were mentioning before about failure, it's not like I fail and I'm like, hey, there's another one. It's okay. Like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to do what you need to do to get over it, and just realize that it's going to be okay, period, eventually. You just have to work towards that step. And whether you're a photographer or a model or a dancer or whatever you do, I say always give it more than your all. Especially a good example that I can draw from would be with dance. When you're in class, it's hard. You're tired, you're sweating, your muscles are sore. An hour later or a day later, when you're at home, when you're just relaxing, that pain is gone. All that pain, all that fatigue, everything generally is gone. So as long as you just push more than as hard as you can for that split second, then you're incrementally making yourself better the more. But if you're like, oh, okay, this is hard, I need to take a break, you're going to have your break. You're going to have a break later. Why are you taking it now?
Right. Wow. Thank you. Those are excellent words to bring us to the end of the show, which is where we're at right now. We're approaching the end here. So anybody have last words they'd like to share before we end the show?
Well, I would like to say that being more than twice the age of every single one of you, I feel really good about the future. Just in an, one of you've all been students of mine, and when I watch what you do with what you learn, when I watch with concern and eagerness the mistakes you make so you can invent the new and you can improve on the knowledge I was able to pass on based on my mistakes, I feel very, very good about the future. And Julian, thank you so much for delaying your departure so you could be here live with us today.
Happy to have been a part of it. I hope everyone enjoyed. It was a pleasure to electronically meet everyone, even if I don't see you. If you're interested in seeing my photography, go to my website. It's just julianduquephotography.com, or my Instagram is Julian and then SEZ. I hope that everyone has an amazing day, an amazing life. Do your best. What can I say?
Well, yeah. Thank you so much, Julian, for making time to be part of the Global Sunday, and thank you so much for, sharing your experience with people who are watching at home. This has been an amazing talk. This has been an amazing discussion, exchange of knowledge. I can see people are really happy at home, who are watching with us on YouTube and Facebook. um, I do want to know, because sometimes it's really hard to balance things, like especially when you do a lot of different things at once. Like you're a photographer, you are a model, and you are a dancer. And from what I've seen, it all looks incredible. When I see you dance, it's like it's the only thing that you can do. When I see you do photography, it's like it's the only thing that you do. I saw a few photos of you as a model, and it looks amazing. But I think it's really important to share this with people who are watching at home. How do you balance the three?
Well, again, remember there's four, because these are all my hobbies. These are all my professional hobbies. I actually have a job that I do. I don't know how I balance it all. I often, my mom often tells me that I do too much. I tell myself that I do too much, but I can't not. It goes back to I want to have everything in life. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a photographer. I want to be a model. I want to do all these things. And the only way I can do it is by working hard and not forcing, because you shouldn't force anything, but doing the best that I can to make sure that all of these things are maintained. And again, yeah, that's a lot of work, because just being a dancer is hard, or being just a professional photographer is hard, or just being just a model is hard. When you put all those together, if you're interested in doing more than one thing, realize you're gonna have to work hard, but always work efficiently. I do my ballet in the morning, and then I go to work, and I do my photography when I come home at night, or when I have my days off from work is when I usually have my opportunities to do modeling or to shoot. So you got to make it work. You're the one that's in control of your life, so you have to figure out how to make that happen.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you.
Damon, were you saying something?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please go for it.
Well, since I'm the last one talking, I'm gonna saying my last words. I just want to thank Julian for his presence on the show today, for your presence on the and for your wonderful answers, and I would say most of all for the attitude that you have brought to the show and broadcast for everybody watching, because I think that that's a really great example. If people are admiring what you do and how much you do, I think that what they really should take note of is the attitude that you've had on this show. This passion for life, this positivity, this intention to be of service to others, to be a positive impact on the world. And if they wanted to be just like you, I think it should be in that regard, rather than your height, the same list of skills and the same accomplishments and all those skills. But I think that's really the thing for everybody to take away. And so I appreciate that that's what you've brought here today. And that's my last words. This has been the Global Sunday Show, and thanks so much for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for staying with us. So this is the Global Sunday. Quickly, I just want to say thank you so much to people who are watching right now. I'm going to say hello to Vusi Zwane, who is watching. Mama Mia, Bongo Msomi, obviously, Malinda, Spamandla Mlu, and let's see who we have here. PC Nyandeni. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for staying with us. Please do join us next week again. Let me see. Zulu Pavarotti. Oh, yeah. That's what it is. Sma Papi. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let me see who else is here. Tembelani Mayo. Shout out to you. Zendi Abagali Mboto, something like that. Tato, shout out to you. Richard, shout out to you. Let's see. Yeah, I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Same time, same place. Remember, on Saturday, we have an event. It's the gala. It's the Ballet Gala. It's going to be happening live on Facebook. Please go to the Margaret Fontaine Academy of Ballet on Facebook right now and click like and go to the event and go purchase your ticket so you can be able to watch. It's only $30. It's only $30. Thank you so much. Follow us on Instagram, The Global Sunday. Follow us on Twitter, The Global Sunday. Go on YouTube, Diverse TV. And yeah, if you have anything to say, you want to submit your videos, send us an email, theglobalsunday, or actually it's interviews@theglobalsunday.com. This is your boy, Lungani Gwala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo, and I'm gonna say poo 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 poo. I will see you next week. Same time, same place, baby.
In child.
Right.
I am the future.
We are the future.